Hi, everyone. I'm Becky Freemal with your marketing and communication team here at ValleyStar. And with me is Lynda McNutt Foster with Cortex Leadership Consulting. Hey, Lynda, what's up?
Hey, doing great over here.
How's home life going with the home office and trying to separate church and state, or are you just doing the meld and letting it go?
Well, I'm very, very lucky. I've been doing 70% of my business on Zoom for the last year. So I'm really used to all of this stuff. So it feels kind of normal to me. And I don't have any kids, so I'm very grateful for that. Mothers, my clients are not only having to work from home, but they're having to homeschool.
Yep.
So I said I would have made it through that time. Like,
Here,
no.
here.
Yeah.
I was joking with people. I'll see if you can see it. Let me see if I can move it over there. That right there, that is my schedule. But I really call it my white picket fence because let's be real, I'm not following that. I just have it up to make me feel better.
Those are aspirational dreams.
Yes.
That's what that is. Aspirational time dreams.
So speaking of all the things we're juggling, we're talking about navigating this new life. We're talking about working from home. Some of us are homeschooling. We've got dogs barking in the background. You've got kids coming in asking questions, and we are still working, and I think doing a pretty darn good job of it. I am impressed with my colleagues right now. But this all leads to my question about stress, because some people internalize it, some people go off on other people. Lots of things are a lot of emotions going on. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of stress? Isn't just something that makes you cranky. There are really some deep-rooted issues that people need to address when it comes to that stressed out feeling.
I think the most important thing that I learned about stress, I actually have a health coaching certificate. It was the first one I got because I thought if leaders aren't healthy and can recognize stress and things like that, then they're not going to be thinking at their highest level. So 80% of stress, unmanaged stress, is what is causing illness. So it's because your immune system goes down. So when your cortisol levels are very high, it actually affects your immune system. So you get more colds and all of these things that wouldn't normally make you sick are making you sick. So what's interesting about this time is how critically important it is to manage your stress, not to go to burnout, because your immune system will drop and you'll be much more susceptible to things like the coronavirus, right?
Right. So talk about, too, I understand you have, I think it's 9, if I'm correct, techniques. Are they kind of simple things that people can incorporate into their day-to-day life?
Right. They're very simple, but remembering them and creating a plan to execute them, I think is hard for people. Yeah. So let me just run through a few of them that I think are the most important. One is sweat. So think sweat the stress. So It doesn't mean that you have to go out and run 2 miles. It means that you need to do something that gets that bead of sweat going on the top of your head, because as soon as the sweat starts, your mind actually focuses on that, you're breathing intently. And when that happens, you start releasing that buildup of cortisol. So
I'm breathing
10 minutes a day. Right. Like literally realize where you're breathing from is the technique to go, am I breathing? And you can feel it. You can feel like I'm breathing from my chest instead of my stomach. And so your brain needs oxygen to think at its highest level. So if you can stop and literally, it's very important to stop and just take, a really deep breath and take 2 or 3 of those, and that will move the center of your breathing to your diaphragm. One of the big things is to prune. People need to prune. There's no room for perfectionism, so prune for perfectionism immediately and go, look, what are my biggest priority items? And do those. So don't procrastinate the 5-minute stuff then you can get rid of, but realize if you're only doing 2 and 3 minute stressed things that need to be solved right now, you're not taking care of eating your frog, which is what I wrote in my book about. Take care of the big stuff, make time for the most important stuff, and get rid of the small stuff. Prune everybody having to make their bed this week. all that tiny stuff. Turn off the notifications. So here's what's happening with notification is your brain is going really important. So it's like, it's almost this, there's an amygdala, which is like this almond shaped part of your brain. And what it does is it's your flight, freeze, or appease. And so when those notifications go off, it's like spiking into your amygdala, and it goes, and then you focus on that, and then you come back, right? And so we think that it's okay, but it's really not. So even if you have to check every 10 or 15 minutes something, turn off the notifications, because that's a reactionary space.
All right, sidebar question. Why are you pointing to your jaw for your amygdala? I thought it was up in your brain. I guess your brain's all over, right?
No, I thank you. That's a fantastic question. So it's actually an almond gland right here behind your ears.
Oh,
so what you want to be able to do is think in your prefrontal cortex. Mm-hmm. Right? This is your complex thinking. Well, when your amygdala is going off and your cortisol levels are high and you haven't trained for stress, and most of us actually haven't trained ourselves how to think at our highest level, breathe and trigger that, then you think you're operating from a place of, I'm strategic, this is working. But if you haven't trained for this level of stress that you're operating under right now, you're probably operating under this level of anxiety that you don't even notice.
Right. And talk about that. You kind of touched upon that whole thinking, that higher level thinking and productivity. How does reducing your stress level, or just really trying at least to concentrate on, hey, recognizing the signs of stress, how does it help you become more productive, whether it's work, for your family, just for you?
So there's really interesting research we've been doing for the last 8 years. It used to be that you would think, oh, focus on the good stuff, be positive, just forget about that and think positively. But that's not actually effective for us to get rid of stress or to think at our highest level. What you need to do is plan with pessimism and execute with optimism. So your brain needs to be able to go, it needs to get out on paper in some way that you can see it on the outside. What is your biggest concern? What's another concern you have? What's another concern? And almost dump those concerns, figure out what your desired outcome is what do you want to have when all of this is over? You know, not a job, but maybe you want more security. You really need to think about this and then prioritize your concerns based on what your outcome is that you want to reach. So it's important to get your concerns out in some way, not to dwell on them, but to really plan with pessimism and go, if everything goes wrong, am I ready for that? Because I can tell you what, you can think positive all you want, but if you haven't addressed real concerns that you have that matter, your brain is just going to keep bringing them back and spiking that anxiety. So it's going to reduce your productivity in a major way. So stress, anxiety reduces our productivity. And we think we're doing great. Everything's awesome. We think we're dotting every I, we're crossing every T, we're on it. Our brain is telling you, good, go, 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 go. But what's actually happening is the exact opposite. You're moving slower or faster. Right. So someone who worked at a slower, more methodical space will be almost, honestly, if you've ever seen Zootopia, you people with kids, we love Zootopia and that. The sloth in the DMV.
Yep.
Oh, he thinks he's moving at lightning speed. Let me hurry up. But he's really so that's what's happening. And then those of us that are prone to be active anyway and talk fast, we start talking so fast nobody can keep up with us. So those are the first sort of signs, is that slowdown or that pickup and that chest breathing.
I just posted something on LinkedIn from Psychology Today, and the comment basically was, the whole article was, it's okay right now to not be okay. We've never dealt with something like this in our it's been over 100 years. None of us were alive when the last one happened.
Well, yeah, and the stuff that we studied with about conversational intelligence, and a lot of the leaders at your organization sort of studied this. It was the importance of connection. And in fact, you and I did an interview with the author of that. I flew to New York. So those podcasts, which has now gotten thousands of views, by the way, you haven't checked it recently. Sadly, Judith is no longer with us. So we captured some wonderful understanding of the neurology of stress, of trust, of those type of things. So my suggestion is to have a lunch, a coffee, a dinner, and after hours on FaceTime.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that you can sit there. I tested it a few weeks ago and we had a great time. I had 5 or 6 people. I said, let's all get on Zoom and just eat your lunch. Like get your lunch and we're just going to talk. And it was a space for us to connect. And when we're connected, our stress levels actually go down.
Mm-hmm. We did that with my college friends. We did a happy hour via video conference. And my one friend, because you can do virtual backgrounds. Maybe I'll play with that next time we talk. And so she did the pub, which was a college bar that we all went to. And it just kind of centers us. Like that's where we met. That's our home. We have great memories from Ohio University. And so she put the pub up behind her. And it was just funny. And just that alone made us all start laughing. And man, did it just feel so good to laugh. And
that's a great point. Laughing at yourself, finding something. Alan and I, one night when we were the most stressed, turned on news bloopers. Like we went to YouTube and we turned on news bloopers. And I mean, I laughed so hard, I literally fell off the couch. And so that's another way to, laugh the stress off. So when you're feeling tight and constricted, that is stress. When you're fight, flight, freeze, appeasing, those are triggers to let you know, hey, wait, I'm feeling stressed, and breathe. Like the first thing to do is breathe and then talk to the people, talk to your kids. Like you're exactly right. We're not okay. None of us are okay when we're worried about our physical health, we're worried about our jobs, we're worried about our businesses, we're worried about our teams, right? We're worried about our family. I mean, think about the people that are nursing right now. I have 2 nurses in my family who are having to come home every night to their kids or grandkids. So no, we need to understand that there's a low level of anxiety going anyway right now.
Right. We just got to let each other be human. I tell everyone that we're going to get through this with grace, sprinkled in with laughter. We'll find a way to deal with the rest.
Well, and just here's a big thing you can do is assume right now good intentions. Assume good intentions from everybody you come in contact with. So something might tweak you, something might upset you. I can't believe they did this or that. Go, their intention is really good. And so if I look through that lens, it kind of ratchets down that frustration, because the high level of frustration is the first sign that you are under a great deal of stress, right? Then, things like low libido, low energy, insomnia, frequent colds and infections, chest pain, teeth grinding, all of these things are triggers to let you know you're moving or are in burnout. So the more of the signs that you have towards burnout, the harder it's going to hit you. I've been in burnout 3 or 4 times in my life, and it was really easy to get over it when I was young. Like if I hit a wall of burnout, I would just, sleep a couple of days, go for a run. Like I could really in 2 or 3 days recover from it. At 53, I hit burnout a year and a half ago. And I mean, it took months for me to sort of, really ratchet things down, decide what I was going to put back on the table to be able to manage it. Now I'm just militant about trying to manage my stress level through what I can actually bring in at a time. And you know what that sounds like? Becky, I need right now. My husband, Alan, what I need right now is, and I was not used to doing that. I was not used to asking people for what I truly needed to be okay. And I'm not sure, like when I was really young, I didn't even know what I needed. So making that space of sitting back and going, what do I really need to get through this right now? What do I need? Accepting that that's okay, that you're okay for needing that. And then, my gosh, asking somebody.
I just have a friend. This is my home office. He wanted to come talk to me. You know what? I need a hug. Oh, I love you. Can you say hi to Lynda?
Oh, he's so cute. Hello, hello.
Yes, you can. You know what? Actually, leave the dogs out for 2 more seconds so I can finish talking to her, okay? Okay. I love you, buddy. The dogs are barking incessantly, so I'd rather keep them outside.
That's right.
Well, we could talk forever, and actually, I think we should. I think we should talk some more later. Burnout in and of itself, we could talk about for a good long time, unfortunately.
Well, and how to manage frustration and anger during this time can be really helpful. So there's lots of things that we can dive into. We can take questions that people might send to us, to send us the questions, and we can kind of answer those. So I appreciate the opportunity. This makes me feel good to talk about this stuff right now. It just makes me feel better to talk about it. I don't know if that's how you felt, but
no, I agree. For me, it's this. I like connecting. Even if we're far apart, you can still see people. This is our first social distancing interview, Lynda. We've always sat next to each other, except for the one time when you went to New York City. So see, we're seasoned pros at this distancing.
That's right. And people are going to get good at this really quick, right? Because you know what? That's the difference, is they need it now. That's why you're seeing adoption so fast. When there's no choice, we adapt very quickly. It's when we have a lot of choices not to change that we drag our feet. But right now, people are diving right in.
We got to do it. All right, Lynda, thanks for taking some time. I know that you got to get back to some other things, the work day, as do I. So we'll let you cruise, and we'll talk again, okay?
Sounds great. Thanks so much.
See ya.
Okay, bye.